Hey, what's going on? It's Grego Gallagher here with the Road to Ripped podcast, and I'm here with a very sweet guest, Malcolm. He's actually been following Kinobody for some time, and he's had an awesome transformation from a couple of my courses. So I want to flesh out basically his experiences with that, and what advice he can, give to you. So it's gonna be quite effective, and we're gonna kind of like just jump right into it. But first of all, Malcolm, let's give some people some context. Who are you? When did you realize you wanted to build a great body? And where did you start once you found Kinobody? Sorry, that was a lot of questions, but yeah.
Yeah, I'll just start from the beginning. I've always been, a fitness-minded person.
Mm-hmm.
So, some people they get into fitness and they, they just it's like an uphill battle almost for them. But me, I've always been, into taking care of myself. Wanting to be in good shape, and yeah. So in that regard, it was just pretty simple. But I stumbled across your information when I first started really focusing on getting lean. Um, I found your video online when I was Googling a review for Rusty Moore's program, um, Visual Impact Cardio. Yeah, and I found one of your videos as a review, and that's how I stumbled across Kinobody. I'm not even sure if it was always called Kinobody, but yeah, I stumbled across your site before you kind of blew up. So
Yeah, cool. People that don't know Rusty Moore, he actually wrote a couple really cool courses. He actually was the one that helped motivate me to start my website, which is very cool. And I've had him on the podcast a couple times. So Rusty's got some really great stuff. He sent a lot of people to me, so I'm very thankful. So Malcolm, when you realized you want to get really, really lean, which of my programs did you start with? We'll go from there.
okay, so at first, before you kind of changed the image on your site, you just had one program, which was the shredding program.
Yeah.
And I bought that, and I didn't use it because at the time I was just doing things that I guess normal people do at the gym, your traditional 3 sets or whatever people do at the gym. I kind of just had it on the shelf. I didn't use it. Then
That's actually funny. That's actually a funny kind of comment I want to address. Is yeah, some people will buy programs and then they won't take action, which is quite interesting.
That's everyone, man. That's what everyone does. Well, many people do.
Yeah, so that's actually a cool perspective. So then what happened? When did you actually start putting stuff into place?
All right, so it's actually because of you. So I forgot the moment that I forgot the exact, instance that made me say, okay, this guy is on to something right now. But you posted a video of basically a montage of your results.
Okay.
And I was like, whoa. I was like, hold on a second. This guy is doing some crazy stuff right now, and he's lean. I'm like, sometimes you don't know exactly what you want, but then you see it, and you're like, that's it. That is what I want. I don't want to be super huge, but I want to be strong and lean. And but I don't want to spend a whole bunch of time in the gym. I don't want to live in the gym. And basically, that's what you preach, and you just kind of put the pieces of the puzzle together. So I was like, okay, I'm going to give this a shot. It's a little bit different than what I'm used to, and I have to learn something new. But, this guy's getting the results that I want. So let me see what this is about.
Yeah, that's actually why I love doing those montage videos where I string together different workout clips and stuff of that nature, because it kind of is like proof of the pudding. It's easy to talk the talk and be like, yeah, work out 3 days per week, have a life outside the gym, but people don't take you seriously until you actually live and breathe the results they want. So yeah, every few months I like to kind of take video clips, throw them together, get a good cool soundtrack on, and just so people get motivated, because that's how a lot of people, like you said, shit, I need to start doing this, which is cool. So you first started with my the first program you really put into gear was the aggressive fat loss program, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So then after you watched that video, you got pumped up. You want to start the course, and then yeah, let's go from there.
Your aggressive fat loss program is just mainly the the nutritional side at the time. It was just like a diet, diet protocol that you should follow. And I had your warrior shredding program. So I used that, and I adapted the principles, and my strength started going up. And what I really enjoyed about it was the fact that it really took your mind off of, getting lean. Even though that was the goal, it took my mind off of, getting lean and just focusing on the actual journey of getting to a tangible result. So for me, I stopped weighing myself. Not that I weighed myself continuously, but I focused more on, getting like you preach all the time. Like focus on getting your waist down and your lifts up. So that's exactly what I did, and my results went through the roof. And I'm like, whoa, this is crazy. I'm like, I'm getting leaner. This is the leanest I've ever been. I feel like way lighter on my feet. I'm able to do muscle ups now. I'm able to do like pistol squats now. I'm like, this is insane, man. So I'm just gonna keep, getting better. But I started with the warrior shredding program, and yeah, that was my initial, start using, I guess, the Kinobody approach.
Okay, yeah, I'm glad that you touched base upon the fact that this has helped you kind of get your mind off of, your body fat percentage, off of like obsessing about like, are you losing fat, and just put it where it needs to be. Just the journey, just enjoying, day-to-day life and making that effortless progress, which I think is really, really important. So, and yeah, you mentioned earlier, let's talk about a bit about your results first, because I think in like 10 weeks you went from like a 34-inch waist all the way down to like 31 and a half. And you,
Yeah, man.
And you made some strength gains.
Yeah, that happened.
Did you make strength gains, or did you just maintain your strength?
No, I built.
You built.
I went up in strength, man. I went up. I don't really know my numbers, but I was able to increase my my military press. I was able to increase my bench press a little bit. That was harder because at the time I was doing military press first, and then doing incline and bench press after. So it was kind of hard.
You're doing like a shoulder specialization, yeah.
Yeah, I specialize in my shoulders more. But yeah, no, my strength definitely went up when I was doing the aggressive protocol, and yeah, man, it just works. Like I can't really. You just put in the work, it just works.
Right. Very cool. Well, for people that don't know, I initially launched my aggressive fat loss course, I think, last year, and since then I've made some insane updates, added, the actual workout program to follow, and a bunch of like bonuses, which is really cool. So if you guys want to get on the waiting list, you can go to kinobody.com/AFL2, because it's the 2.0. But anyways, let's continue on this, because I have some pretty good questions for you.
Yeah.
So, I mean, see, for me, for example, I've always found like the strength gains, the lifting, the building the muscle, I found that to be easier. And that's because it's like all you have to do is go to the gym, push it hard. I mean, it's fun. You got to lift heavy. You got to be intense. But I've always found like dieting harder, because that's like a 24/7 thing. I mean, there's always going to be food around. Like sometimes you just want to eat, and so you have to like, put yourself in that deficit. It's not exactly comfortable. Like going to the gym, pushing hard, lifting, that's what we're meant to do. I mean, that's fun. But like, forcing yourself into a deficit can be challenging. That's why I've created these programs to make it almost seamless. I mean, what was the biggest struggle for you as far as dropping fat?
Man, so I've tried. Like I'm a pretty disciplined person, so I've tried some things, man. Like Rusty Moore. Mm-hmm. Like I've tried his protocol. Eating like nothing, eating nothing, and I got lean, man. I got pretty lean, but I couldn't maintain it. Mm-hmm. I couldn't maintain it. It was difficult. I felt like shit. Like I don't know if I can curse on here, but I felt like shit. It was just really difficult. It works, but it wasn't something that I felt like I can build on. I felt like it was something that, it was just for like, a month or two that I can do, and then I didn't really know where to go from there. And When I stopped doing it, I just reverted. I just went backwards again. So I'm not like bashing him. It was just for me at the time. I mean, I feel like now if I did that approach, I would get crazy results because then I would just go back to doing what I'm doing right now. But at the time, I didn't really have, a system to continuously make results, to continuously gain results and maintain. So I kind of forgot what the original question was, but
No, yeah, your struggle with fat loss, and that's a good point. Is that
yeah,
it's easy to like in the beginning when motivation's high, it's easy to gravitate towards these extreme protocols. And in my
yeah,
aggressive fat loss, I kind of differentiate between extreme fat loss or rapid fat loss and aggressive fat loss. And extreme just takes it into this really uncomfortable place. You're going really low in calories. You're not getting enough fats and carbs, and so like your mood is like terrible. Your testosterone levels are down. I don't know what
yeah.
your
Let me just talk about the. Sorry to interrupt you. Let me just talk about the carbs for 1 second.
yeah.
Using different protocols, a lot of them are low carb.
Mm-hmm.
I swore, I'm like, man, you can't lose fat. You can't lose fat if you're eating carbs like this. When you preached eating carbs, I'm like, this is some BS, man. Like, there's no way you can lose fat with carbs. Now, I'm like, I need my carbs or else someone is gonna die.
No,
Someone's dying if you get carbs.
yeah, I know. I hear you. That's what's been programmed to so many people's heads is that okay, carbs make you fat. You can't have carbs to burn fat, and so it's hard for people to break free of that. I'm glad you're able to kind of make that shift and start eating carbs. So during this fat loss phase, this 10 weeks when you dropped like a lot of fat, you brought your waist, which had like much more of like a a chunkier football player build, and then you got to like a really nice lean aesthetic.
Yeah, man.
How was the hunger during that period? On the plan, did you find you were satisfied, or the times when you're hungry? I mean, what was that like?
So, I followed your stuff pretty much to the T, and I woke up, I would drink my coffee. Before I started, I hated coffee, so I was just like, this is really annoying, but I'm pretty good at, I adapted to it. But I do actually, here's a tip for people, if you don't really like drinking coffee. First of all, you'll enjoy or adapt to the bitter taste of coffee. But here's a tip. Drink, like, I pre-make my coffee. I don't know if that's good or whatever, but it works for me. Pre-make your coffee, or if you make it fresh, drink iced coffee or cold coffee so you can just down it. That's what I do in the morning. And that, like, I actually like my coffee now. I'm like, this tastes good. I don't like drinking it hot. I don't know why it just changes it, but I need to drink cold coffee in the morning, and it just suppresses my appetite, and it helps me push. It helps making the fasting period so much easier. It's, some things, someone tells you, and it's kind of mental or placebo, but this really works. When I don't drink coffee, I'm like, I'm hungry. When I drink my coffee or enough coffee in the morning, then it literally stops me from being as hungry as if I didn't drink the coffee. It just works. Like, it's just a great strategy to use.
Yeah, fantastic. And you're probably doing the thing that I talk about a lot is just drinking, only having caffeine in the fasting portion of the day.
Yeah.
Not having it later in the day. Because if some people, they'll drink coffee all day long, even in the evening, and then all of a sudden, like, their body's just so used to it, it doesn't suppress their appetite, it doesn't boost their energy. So were you just doing the coffee in the morning?
Yeah, I was doing the coffee in the morning. Just during the aggressive approach, right?
Right.
Okay, yeah. So I was just doing the coffee in the morning, and yeah, that's it.
Well, and then maybe before a workout or something,
I didn't even use. I actually work out in the morning, so
okay.
I would drink my coffee and then I would work out.
Oh, okay, cool. And so, I mean, what was your experience with, like, counting your macros, like hitting your macros? I mean, what were your favorite meals to eat? I mean, did you find it difficult to start, like, tracking your macros and that sort of thing? Because that can be intimidating.
Okay, yeah, so, counting my macros was something that I was 100% completely, like, new to.
Okay.
And that was almost the thing that stopped me from, like, moving forward. But I was like, okay, I'm like, I'll learn this. Hopefully this just works itself out. And at first it's really annoying because it's just like, I don't feel like doing this. Like, I don't really want to count my macros. But if you learn to count your macros, you can be lax later on because you'll kind of be able to gauge, where you're going, and how much you can eat, and then when you really want to dial things in, then you can go back to counting your macros again. But that was the biggest challenge for me at first, just counting macros, knowing how much I could eat, kind of putting the pieces of the puzzle together. And yeah, that was it was a bit of a challenge, but I mean, it wasn't that difficult. And a lot of things are just so much easier now that we have MyFitnessPal and the apps that we can use to manage what we eat.
Yeah, and so counting the macros can be confusing at first, but I mean, really, like, people listening, all you have to do is kind of track it a couple times, and then if you stick that same meal plan, you don't have to track it. You already know what to
Plug it in.
So I mean, if you, like me, for example, like with myself, I usually just have, I started, like, back in the day, I started with, like, basically 2 different days where I'd have different meals, and then all of a sudden, like, I'd add in, like, a 3rd day, and I'd mix in different meals, so, like, I wouldn't really have to, like, track and be like, okay, how many calories is this? I'd kind of have a plan in place, and then if I was having something new, then I would plug it into, my app, MyNet Diary or FitnessPal, and I just put it in, and so it's intimidating at first, but, like, yeah, it's good that you push through that, because that's a skill that will help you, and then, like you said, when you do it for a few weeks, a couple months, you're like, okay, I know what I'm getting. I'm gonna, like, I can just eyeball it. So yeah.
You don't have to be exact. Like, at first I was pretty anal about it, and then I was like, this is just, my body is not gonna say, wait a second, you're 5 grams off. Now we're not gonna get you the results. Like, it doesn't work. Like, that's not gonna happen. So I just stopped being extremely anal about it. I mean, my girlfriend probably thinks I'm still anal about it, but yeah.
She doesn't complain about the 6-pack.
Yeah, she's not gonna complain about that.
Yeah, that's funny. That's I'm glad you shared that experience. So let's talk a bit about, what were your favorite go-to meals? I'm always curious, like, on an intermittent fasting plan. Like, what did you eat for your meals?
Okay. I can give you some insights on what I eat. Chicken tenderloins, chicken breast, ground turkey, things that are easy, because I'm like, I don't really want to spend that much time.
Chicken tenderloins? Is that chicken tenderloins?
Yeah, chicken tenderloins.
Very cool. I haven't tried those. Interesting.
Yeah. Pork tenderloin.
Yeah, those.
That's great. That's great for me because I can just pop like 5. That's what I'm doing right now. A lot of pork tenderloin, because I can just pop those in the oven. I have a store called Aldi's. I don't know if you know about Aldi's, but
cool.
You can pop those in the oven, make like 5 of them, and I can eat those every day, and then get the rest of my protein from another source. I usually eat egg whites. Yeah. So ground chicken, not ground chicken. Yeah, actually ground chicken, chicken breast, chicken tenderloins, pork tenderloin, center cut pork. That's pretty much my protein staple. In terms of carbs, of course, potatoes, sweet potatoes. They're amazing. And here's a good meal.
I single-handedly increased the amount of sales in potatoes. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh, you did, man. You did. Like, you put me on to. It's just, I mean, you can just listen to the other interviews or go to your site. Like, it's satisfying, and it makes you feel full. And that's exactly what you want if you're in a deficit. Like, if you can feel full and satisfied while you're in a deficit, mission accomplished. So if you want, here's a quick tip for people out there. If you really want a great meal, sweet potatoes with, this is my favorite thing in the world, almond butter.
Wow.
And you get some, like, low calorie syrup. It's life.
Do you bake the sweet potatoes?
I can put them in the oven, or I can put them in the microwave. I prefer the oven because it has a more, like, fluffier taste to it, and I just like the taste when it's in the oven more. But
okay.
I bake, and so you cut them in.
Right. Okay, so you're baking the sweet potatoes. You're cutting them in half. You're putting some almond butter on it and a little bit of low calorie syrup.
Yeah, once you try it, it's gonna change your entire life.
That sounds delicious. Actually, one of the things that I like that you mentioned is, like, a lot of your protein sources are quite lean, like, the chicken breast and tenderloins. Even pork tenderloin is relatively lean, and so it's that like going with, like, lean sources of meat make it very easy, because then when you want to have potatoes or sweet potatoes, you have all this fat you can work with. So you might have like a few teaspoons of coconut oil or butter you can throw into your meals and cook with your chicken breast, or you can like, you know, make some potato wedges with some oil, or you can add some almond butter for some fats in your sweet potatoes. So when you have like lean protein sources, it just gives you more room to work with the fats and oils. If you have like some fattier steaks or you know, ground beef, even extra lean ground beef tends to have a decent amount of fat.
Low in the fat.
Yeah, then you don't have, then you have to eat like potatoes with, you don't have much room for butter or anything. So
and potatoes are not good without fat, man. Like if you're just eating just potatoes, I'm just like, I need some like sour cream or like butter or something, man.
See, that's actually what I found is that like it tastes so much, like it doesn't really fill me up as much if I don't have like that butter or if I haven't like cooked it with some oil. Which is funny because a lot of people in the fitness industry, they tell you, like you've probably heard this, Malcolm, like don't mix fats and carbs. Either have protein.
I've heard that.
Yeah, and so if I just eat protein and carbs, like if I just have chicken breast and a potato, I'm not full.
That sucks.
It sucks.
It sounds like it sucks. Like chicken breast. I mean, I've actually been I follow you on Instagram sometimes, so I see some of the stuff you do with chicken breast, and I'm like, I need a crock pot, man, because it looks like you just took chicken to the next level. Like chicken breast can get boring so fast. It can be very terrible experience at times. So unless
you get Chipotle chicken breast with a lot of cheese on there, then it's just
If you just cover in cheese, you're good. But if you don't have the room for that, if you're in an aggressive, if you're trying to hit an aggressive deficit, then it can be hard to get the amount of cheese that would make it amazing at times. So, like just eating. First of all, if you have to eat just chicken breast, it sucks. If you have to eat just potatoes, it sucks. If you have to eat just chicken breast and just potatoes, it's just like a nightmare. So you have to kind of find a way to make whatever you're eating like actually enjoyable, and there are ways to do that. You need your fat.
You need your fat. Yeah, that's why you gotta have that fat to play around with, so you can like make some crispy chicken breast with like cut up in pieces and with some coconut oil, or like potato wedges or almond butter and your sweet potatoes, which sounds fantastic. And I will be probably trying that one tonight.
Right, man.
It's just a game changer. So I tell people, it's like, forget about not mixing like fat and carbs. Like, do it. You need that fat with the carbs to really feel full and satisfied. How was your, like, when you were doing this aggressive cut and fat loss? How was your sex drive? Did you find any decline in testosterone, for example? How was that for you?
No, man, I was good. I was good on all levels, man. I didn't feel lethargic. I didn't feel tired. Sometimes I felt a little sore just from working out, but I mean that's just normal,
Right, because like that's been my, like, usually if I try and when I used to push fat loss, I would I would just be in a bad mood, and like my testosterone levels would just be down, and that was because if you kind of do an extreme deficit, if you're eating 1,200 calories a day as a guy, and taking in low fats and carbs, because both fats and carbs help promote optimal testosterone functioning. So when you that's why like these programs I set them up for like the big meals and the ample amounts of fats and carbs. It just makes it so much. It just it makes life better, because if you have no sex drive, what's the point of having six pack abs? That's what I say.
Yeah, and I experienced and I keep going back to visual impact. I was doing the full program, so I was going to the gym, doing my lifts, and then doing like an hour of cardio 4 times a week. Mm-hmm. And I was getting results, man. Like I was getting lean, but I felt like shit. I felt like it was just the worst, man. I couldn't maintain it. Like every day was just drawn out. It was a struggle. I mean, if you want to use that to, I guess, get to a certain point and then stop, that's good. But I went into it thinking like, okay, this is gonna be my fitness lifestyle from now on. I'm like, I can't do this. I just can't. Like, and my energy was low, and it wasn't enjoyable, man.
I haven't seen many examples of someone that went on like a really drastic program and then got to their goal, then went off it, and then just maintained. There's always going to be some regression after that. I've never really seen it work out. So that's why my programs and like what I tell people on YouTube and in my articles, it's like if you're not enjoying the journey, it's worthless. You need to find a way to make getting to your goal enjoyable. Otherwise, like it defeats the entire purpose. So that's cool. That's cool that like you went from like an extreme approach that kind of was you're getting great results, but it was a nightmare, and then actually enjoying yourself, having great workouts, building up to muscle ups and stuff, and pistol squats.
Weighted pistol squats with 30 pounds.
Weighted. That's sweet. Okay, so let's give some people more context. So I mean, the first part of your journey, you started with like you did the warrior shredding program and the aggressive fat loss program to lose fat a bit quicker. You got really lean. You learned how to track your macros. Eat great meals. And then you wanted to focus on muscle building. So then you moved over to like the Greek God program.
Yeah. I felt like honestly, I moved over to the Greek God program because I felt I just wanted to work out more. I wanted to just do more volume. So I was like, I'm pretty lean right now. So maybe I'll just focus on maybe staying in a slight deficit, add more volume, build my lifts up, and if I want to lean out even more after I build a little bit, then I'll do that. So I followed my AB protocol, AB split, and I ate more calories. So I was still in a deficit, but it was more of a slight deficit rather than being in a larger like 600 calorie deficit. Right. And that's when things just became so much easier. I could eat way more. Just my meals were even better, and my lifts just shooting up.
Yeah, actually, one point I want to address right here is that's a mistake that some people will make. Is like, let's say they have their goal to be like 6-7% body fat, and they're starting at 18% or 20%. They keep trying to get to that 6-7%, and they never take that break. See, I think if someone gets to maybe it's 12%, 10%, or 9% body fat, because you got to single digits on your cut, I think it's important to like take a break from the big deficits. Focus on putting on some strength and some muscle, and do that for a few months. And then if you want to get back after that, if you want to get to 6-7%, then go into a cut. But if you're staying in a caloric deficit, a large one at that, for several months, it's going to be so much harder. That period of eating more gives you a psychological release, like which you just kind of mentioned. It was like felt so good, but it also gives you that physiological release. It gives you that chance to eat more calories, support your metabolism, even increase your metabolism to a certain extent. And furthermore, I mean, it just helps increase leptin, so that when you go back into a diet, you'll lose fat more enjoyably, and your appetite won't go through the roof. So I mean, it's good that you mentioned that, like doing focusing on building muscle, eating more for a few months. Then if you want to go back, is a very effective strategy. People listening, don't get hung up on getting to your end goal in one stretch. It's okay to get like some good progress, then kind of take a break.
Yeah, I mean I actually didn't listen to you. I would send you emails back and forth, and you said, keep focusing on getting leaner, and I was like, I don't want to. So I was like, I'm gonna change it up a little bit.
Okay, I was telling you to get leaner.
Yeah, no, you were telling me to like focus on maybe losing like either half an inch or 1 more inch, and then you'd be good to like just keep then you'd be in muscle building mode, building mode. But I was like, I feel good where I am right now, and I kind of want to build a little bit, and mainly I want to eat more food. So I was just like, all right, I'm gonna just decrease my deficit a little bit.
So for people listening, I'm not always correct. Don't always listen to me. Don't pretend my voice is the word of God. I don't know. Yeah, that's a good example, because like literally, if you feel like you're happy with where you are and you want that like change of eating more calories, then by all means go for it. And so yeah, in that example, I think what happened was like you were like getting so lean with the single digits. I'm like, okay, if you just drop like 2 more pounds, just 2 more pounds,
yeah,
a little bit will just pop out. And so I was kind of like, I guess I was like, just 2, but no, it's good that you kind of, that was the right time to, because sometimes if you're already burnt out and you just push for that 2 extra pounds and you're not in the right headspace, you'll just kind of, it just won't happen. Like you'll either fall off every 3 days and you'll kind of be like spinning in, like putting in a lot of effort, but spinning your wheel tire, spinning in circles because you just can't sustain it. So no, it's good that you did that. So you had a big increase in strength and muscle mass.
Yeah.
It's funny. Yeah, go ahead.
No, and I wanted to mention, anyone who's going to do this, if you actually aren't as lazy as I am in terms of, your fitness, I'm doing other things, so I don't really like doing cardio on my off days. I got my results without doing cardio. So I think about it now, if I actually did cardio, I would be freaking ripped right now, like ripped to shreds right now. But I just don't do it just because I don't feel like doing it. So.
Yeah, that's basically when you have your training and your nutrition dialed in, you're gonna like get pretty much everything you can possibly get. Cardio on your rest days can just help speed up the process a little bit.
Yeah.
And so, the same token, you don't want to overdo cardio because when you overdo it, it becomes mentally exhausting. You get hungry, and so yeah, no, it's cool you pointed that out because sometimes like the cool thing is that if you can't go to the gym and do those cardios on the rest days, you'll still make that gradual progress. It won't be as fast as it could be. You'll still make great progress. So, I mean, you've laid out some good tips for people as far as some cool recipes, and as far as like getting used to tracking your macros, and the cold coffee. I mean, any final tips for someone that wants to get like lean or start on a Kinobody program?
Yeah, stop program hopping, man. Follow a program. You're not going to get anywhere by going from program to program or trying to mix a million different programs. Basically find, this strategy might not even be for you. If, you want to be a huge, gigantic bodybuilding type dude, like follow someone who's doing that. If you want to live a fit lifestyle where it's pretty much seamless, as easy as it's gonna get. If you want to look great in a suit, then you can follow this. That's pretty much it. Like I tell some of my friends, like they ask me questions, and I tell them exactly what I'm doing. I'm like, yo, just follow this, man. I mean, there's more than one way to skin a cat, but this has been the easiest way for me to get my results. So, find someone who's doing what you're trying to do, and do what they do. That's what I did. So.
All right. Sweet. Thank you for sharing that, and thank you for the testimonial. Appreciate it. If you want to get massive, this is not the correct podcast. The Kinobody is not quite for you. Yeah. So actually, let's finish off because one thing I'm curious about is like when someone goes through this awesome fitness transformation and they really start to like achieve their goals. Like, did that have any effect on other parts of your life?
Yeah, man. Like I said, I've always been pretty, health conscious, fitness conscious. So I've always had that, drive. But now, like that I'm getting results, I just feel like man, I tackled this. Like I can pretty much do anything right now. I mean, I'm pretty sure there's more difficult things in life than your fitness goals, depending on where you are. If you have to lose 100 pounds and you lose 100 pounds and you accomplish that, then I mean, you can pretty much do anything. You feel like you're on top of the world. But me, I feel like some people, they're just in a space where they don't have to do that much. Like I feel like someone like me or someone like you, our journey isn't that difficult to get into great shape. You know what I mean? Compared to someone who has to lose 50 pounds. But setting your sight on a particular goal and then just achieving it, and then having a systematic way to improve on it is it's amazing. So, and it definitely transfers itself into other areas of your life, and it helps you get focused, and it frees up time, because once you get this stuff dialed in, it's just you kind of don't have to really focus on it, and it's just pretty much streamlined, and you can get on with other things that are more important in life, Because what's the point of being in great shape if you can't actually go out and enjoy it, if you can't enjoy your life, if you can't build and make progress in other areas of your life? And I mean, that's what I'm about. I mean, unless your life is fitness, and I mean, it doesn't really make sense to to live in the gym or to be constantly thinking about your fitness or to just for it to basically detract from your life, you know? It doesn't make sense for it to detract from your life if that's not your life.
Cool.
I'm kind of
That's
ranting right now, but yeah.
no, I no. It's important to say this. This is really important for people like to absorb. Is that if you're not enjoying your life, then what's the point? You know, this stuff should enrich your life. I just kind of want to finish off, and I know you mentioned like someone that has 50 pounds, 100 pounds to lose. It's going to be a harder journey, and I think the most like there's a couple things that are really important that I kind of want to stress there. And the first of which is that the most critical part of that journey is when you start to believe in yourself. It's called buying into yourself. So if you really, if in the back of your head you really don't think you can do it, if you don't really believe that you can become a fit person, you're going to be kind of defined by that outlook. But like once you start to like get into it and see those initial results, all of a sudden your brain is like, holy shit, I can do this. I can do this. And from then on, it's like the motivation is there. Now the second thing is it's like, okay, it's hard. Some people, their mind will be like, oh my God, I have so far to go. I have to lose 100 pounds, 50 pounds, and that can stress people out. But like, that's why I talk about some of these courses, the importance of putting your attention right where it needs to be, enjoying the journey, focusing on that weekly progress, and like, almost putting the blinders on, not worrying about like, the 1,000 steps you have ahead of you, just focusing on what you can do right now. And when you adopt that outlook, it's quite amazing what happens. Your enjoyment for life improves because you're not living for the future, you're enjoying the moment that unfolds. I mean, this fitness journey, it's a beautiful adventure, but if you're so focused and attached to that end result, you're going to miss all that enjoyment and beauty there. It's like one of my favorite quotes by Bruce Lee. I never really understood it until I think a couple of years ago, and he's like, it's like a finger pointing out to the moon. If you focus too hard on the finger, you'll miss all the heavenly glory. And so that kind of essentially perfectly describes that mindset you need to have. Is don't be so focused on the end result because you're gonna miss all the beauty that unfolds around you.
Yeah, and it's like, I mean, I like using fitness as an analogy for many things in life, and I kind of take this what I'm about to say and I try to transfer it to other areas of my life. But it's focus on making a breakthrough. Focus on making a breakthrough. So if you're starting out in fitness, get to a point where what you're doing is effortless and you don't have to really think about it. And then that's what you should focus on. Focus on reaching that point where it's like, okay, I know what I'm doing, I'm in my groove, and now I can kind of, take my foot off the gas and just run on autopilot. Because that's how I feel. Like at first, I had to learn how to count macros. I had to, make sure that I was eating my, within my calorie limits. I had to make sure I was getting the correct food. I had to make sure that I was, that I had my coffee. I had to make sure like these things that I just had to make sure that the things were in place. But then once you do it for a while, it's like do it long enough so you can hit that breakthrough. Don't stop before you actually make that, pivotal step that you need to take. Like make the breakthrough, then run on autopilot, and then do other things and not forget, but like do other things so you're not constantly focused on, your fitness goals. That's what I've done, and that's what's really helped me. I kind of got to a point where I'm like, okay, like I've reached that point where I know what I'm doing now. I don't have to like think about trying another program or, trying this, trying that. I'm doing this. This is what I'm focused on. I have one particular goal, and now it's just on autopilot. I just do this every day, and I try to have that same philosophy in other areas of my life. Like try to hit that breakthrough where, you can kind of run on autopilot. But that takes discipline at first, and then you can kind of mess around. Like I don't have like a perfect diet. Like I'll admit it. Today I ate like 6 Pop-Tarts, man. And I didn't care.
I've been there.
I didn't care.
Yeah.
I really did not care. It was like, I had one. I was like, I'm just going to have one. And I was like, yeah, I'm not going to just have one. And I just was like, okay, I can fit it. I might not be able to eat as much food had I, ate potatoes instead of, 5 Pop-Tarts. But, to me today, it's worth it. And that's stuff you can get away with if, 90% of the time, you're doing 80% of the time, really, you're doing what you're supposed to do.
Yeah, I mean that's like actually yesterday, for example, I ended up like I couldn't make it home in time for my meal, and so I was getting really really hungry, and so I ended up having like this milk chocolate bar, and it was like 550 calories, and I ate the entire thing, and it was amazing. I was like, this chocolate is like incredible. It was like this organic milk chocolate bar, and I like had this like hot chocolate aftertaste. It was fantastic. And I was driving, and so I was hungry. I'm like, I'm not gonna force myself to starve. I'm gonna eat this chocolate bar. It's 550 calories. Then I'm gonna have my dinner a bit later, and then I had my dinner, and then had like made my like that last bit of food a bit smaller. Just had like a bag of hot chips actually, and so my calories were like around. Like I got like triple meat at Chipotle. I had like an apple earlier, so my calories were around like 2,100, 2,200. So it was perfect. And it's like I might have gone lower in protein, but at the end of the day, the macros. Here's the thing that people don't tell you that talk about macro stuff. At the end of the day, the macros are really there to make eating more enjoyable. So if you don't get enough protein, you might find that you're not going to be full enough. If you don't get enough fat, you might not feel satisfied, and same thing with carbs. So the macros are there to make this calorie intake as enjoyable as possible. There's nothing inherently magical about these different macro splits. I mean, yes, getting in ample amounts of carbs and fats are important for testosterone and feeling good and hormonal functioning. And yes, you want to get in enough protein to help support and maintain muscle. But at the end of the day, if you go lower in fat or carbs or protein, you stick to your calories, that's more important. So, I mean, people like...
I've actually been playing around with that a little bit. Actually, I've been playing around with that a little bit. I heard you mention that you've been decreasing your protein a little bit. Yeah. And I love my carbs and my fats, so I'm like, I'm going to try this now and decrease my protein just a little bit, to try to squeeze in some more fats and carbs. Because, I mean, to me, like the protein kind of gets boring at the time, at times. And I just love, like, my cheese and, my sweet potatoes and my potatoes and butter. Like, I can just eat butter.
Yeah. So. Well, yeah, that's one of the points is, like, if you're eating 5 meals a day, it's hard to go low in protein because that's like 25 grams or like that's like 30 grams of protein per sitting. That's a little bit of meat. But when you're eating like 2 big meals a day, you don't have you can be full on like a moderate protein diet. And all the research shows that the maximum amount of protein needed to support your goals or to build muscle, retain muscle on a diet is about pretty much 0.82 grams per pound. Now, if you're someone that has 50 pounds to lose, it's going to be lower than that because all this extra fat doesn't increase your protein demands. But yeah, so now I've gone lower than 0.82 grams per pound, and I've put on muscle. I've put on strength, and I mean, people over obsess about the macros and stuff. So the point is like the macros that are to make eating your diet, eating that calorie intake way more enjoyable. And so if you have to so some people ask me, it's like, okay, you know what? I've hit my calorie intake, but I didn't get enough protein. Should I eat protein? I'm like, no. Hitting your calories is the most important for your respective goal. So don't force yourself to eat more just to fit into these macros. So yeah, that's the point. And so cool. Like I like how you shared that. Yeah, you like your carbs and fats, and so.
Yeah, and stop listening to other. If you're doing this, stop listening to other people because sometimes people see the amount of food that I eat. And they always have like excuses or reasons why I shouldn't be eating that much food. Like you shouldn't be eating that much meat, or it's not healthy to eat that much food in one sitting. And I'm like, it's pretty much the same thing. Like, okay, so take someone who eats 6 meals a day. I'm like, it's not. I'm just eating my meat in one sitting as opposed to splitting it up in 3 meals. Because I like to mainly get most of my protein in 1 or 2 meals. So someone who, I'll go to work and people see the amount of meat that I eat in one sitting and they're like, how do you eat that much food? Like, why are you eating so much meat? Like, they think I'm like a meathead, and it's like I don't want to explain this to you, but like it makes sense. Don't worry.
I've had the same experience. And it's funny because you'll hang around these people, like the people that literally are going to be like, you're eating so much meat, you're eating so many potatoes, this isn't good. I mean, those are the people that literally, if you spent the entire day around them, they would probably take in like double the calories.
Yeah, that's what I'm like. It's really not that much food if you think about it.
It's not. I mean, as far as putting the calories to get together as in a couple meals with lots of meat and potatoes and foods that are very satiating, very filling, the calories aren't that high. So I mean, you might be doing like, on your cut, you might be doing 2,000 calories, 2,200. I mean, depending on how aggressive you're going. I don't even know how much you weigh or your height or whatnot.
183. I'm 183, 5'11".
Okay, so how much were you cutting it when you're doing like the aggressive?
I was about 193, so I lost about 10 pounds.
Okay, cool. Yeah, and like, I think you put on some muscle too. But what was your calorie intake when you were doing that cut? It was around.
I started at about 18.
Yeah.
And then I moved to like 19.
Nice. Okay, yeah. So I mean, like you're cutting and like you're doing like 1,900 calories, and like these people that probably are like hating on like you're like eating too much. I mean, you spend a day with them, it's game changer. Like I went up to a weekend with a bunch of my friends to like up to like a ski chalet, and I in the morning I just did some coffee, like chilled, hung out, we went snowshoeing and stuff, and these people were eating non-stop. Like they had this like big breakfast, then they were like snacking on like chips and just like chocolates around the house, and then there was no lunch, but they were snacking non-stop, and then they had like this massive dinner, and they're just eating so like they spent more of the day like with like putting food in their mouth than anything else, and so it's like eating. It might seem like you're eating more when you just eat like these massive meals a few times a day, but you're really not. It's a lot.
Exactly. And it's like there's always some excuse. There's always just like an excuse, and I'm just like, I like hearing when people have to say it because I like hearing the perspective that they're coming from. But it's like, I tell people I fast. They're like, well, like that can't be good. I'm just like, really? You don't see the benefits in fasting? I'm like, where have you been? But anyway, I'm like, I mean, it just helps me fit more food in the window of time that I'm eating. I'm like, I don't fast necessarily. I don't fast for like religious reasons or, for, not even for really health reasons. Honestly, I do it because during the window of time that I'm able to eat, I can eat more enjoyable meals. And people say, oh, like you lift weights in a fasted state. I'm just like you can't get a good workout in. And I'm like, that's just not true. That's not true.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's not true, man. I'm like, I do it every morning that I go to the gym. Like I don't eat food and I lift, and my lifts go up and I feel good, and I don't eat until like a few hours later. So like it works.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you can do that.
Yeah, this was a really important point to bring up, like dealing with people around you and their judgments and stuff like that. I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, if you know it's working, anyone listening, if what you're doing is working, you don't have to justify what you're doing to anyone. So if they're like, this is bad for you, fasting, you're like, okay, that's okay. Like, it's working for me, but I mean, you can voice your opinions. Like, I like to just play really dumb because I know if someone is actually, like really like curious, like how is this working? You're eating all this food. What's this fasting thing? You're getting results. Like, why is that working? Like, if someone's interested, I'm totally there to like teach them and share with them. But if someone is like already like closed-minded and like not open to anything, and like sometimes they'll get offended if you're doing something differently. They're like, you shouldn't be doing this. It's stupid. What you're doing is wrong. I don't get that anymore. But like, like of course I don't get that because it's like, you kidding me? Have you seen like the amount of transformations and stuff? But like, I'll have people that like would get that or whatever. People that like don't have any don't know what I do, and they'll be like, fasting that's bad for you, whatever. Or actually, well, no. What I'll do is like someone asks like, oh, aren't you gonna have breakfast? I'm like, what's that? Like the first meal of the day. Like, were you kidding? I'm like what? Eating in the morning? That's so weird. You do that? Like, wait,
what about people at the gym?
I just play dumb or whatever. But that's the thing, and like any of these like interactions with people, I mean, whoever has the most certainty kind of like wins. And so if you have like absolute like certainty about what you're doing, it's not a big deal. That's like when I've gone through periods where I didn't drink just for fun, just like a challenge or whatever. And if you were at like a party and someone would come up to you and be like, you're not drinking, and you kind of were like self-conscious about the fact that you're not drinking, you're like, what am I doing here? Like, I'm not drinking, I'm just drinking, I should be drinking. If you're self-conscious about that, like, their reality will dominate yours. But if you're like totally, hold that frame, you're just like, no, I'm not drinking, and just like are confident with that, then they'll kind of leave you alone. But obviously now I drink, but I just have like a few drinks and I'm done.
What about people at the gym? I remember when I first started doing this, there's a particular person I'm thinking about right now. He's like an older guy at the gym. He does like insane squats. Like it's just like plates on plates on plates, man. And he saw me like doing some of the stuff that I do, just doing weighted pull-ups. And he's like, "Oh no, you're gonna get injured." It's like what? Like what are you talking about? Like I'm not gonna get injured doing this. Like, he would just see like some of the weight that I use like on my military press, because I feel like I'm pretty good at doing military press. I haven't hit my body weight yet, but like he see the amount of weight that I'm using in my military press, and he's like, "You're gonna injure yourself, and it's better to get da 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 and da da da." I was like, "Oh my!" And then he saw my progress throughout the months, and now he doesn't say anything to me. He's just like, "Damn, this dude's kind of turning into a beast right now." I was like, "What is he doing?"
Yeah.
Like, don't let other people's criticism kind of stop you from doing what you have to do.
Yeah, I think like from my experience, most people in a gym, they don't want to go up to someone and be like, "Oh, you should do this instead," because it's kind of like frowned upon. It's like let someone do their own.
That's what I say.
Yeah.
But
so,
he was telling me not to do certain things, and I'm like, look at all these other people in here who probably do need some assistance, and you're coming up to me telling me this?
Right. Like the one thing that happened was that I think in my gym, like because I don't train legs as crazy as a lot of people like to train them. I only do like a little bit of leg work once a week, and I keep the volume low. Otherwise, my legs get too big. And so sometimes like the trainers were like, "Greg, like do you ever train like legs?" And then they see me jump onto like a 50-inch box or do like a 100-pound pistol squat, and they're like, "Fuck." But,
yeah, man. No, that was a game changer for me too. Like just the philosophy and the legs, and I'm like, yeah, man. Like not having huge, gigantic legs and just kind of being strategic with how you train your legs. That was a game changer for me too, because I'm like, yeah, like if I start doing like barbell squats, like my legs, like they're gonna grow like
get too big. It's too big. And the heavy barbell squats, it's very neurally demanding. So then if you like, it kind of takes a lot out of you as you get more advanced. It's like it just takes so much out of you. And funny thing I find is like, hey, well, I mean, having great legs is all about being like explosive. I mean, that's the point of like the legs, like functionality. I mean, being able to sprint fast, jump high. That's the goal. But people that like to masquerade like you got to do all these squats and deadlifts to be functional. Their legs are sore every single day of the week. How can you be functional if you can't even walk up the stairs like just got I don't even want to like sodomized. I mean, like a little bit inappropriate, but like you're not functional if you're sore all the time. You can barely walk. Okay,
yeah.
So like the cool thing is when you train your legs like for like that actual aesthetics, like that lean fit look that fits into slim bands, not like huge. Then you're fresh all the time. You have some spring in your legs. And your legs aren't so bulky, so you can maneuver your body better.
Yeah, man, and you can get strong. Like if you can do weighted pistols, I just tested this because I'm able to do weighted pistols now with 30-pound dumbbells in each hand, and I was like, okay, let me do the math. Let me see. This is approximately about. I should be able to do about X amount on
300-pound squat.
Barbell. So I tested it out. I couldn't go ATG, but I could still do them pretty comfortably. It was tough sets, but I did 183.
Okay.
So I did the math again later, and I used a little bit too much weight. I did 300 pounds, but I wasn't doing ATG, but I was doing like maybe half, a little bit below half. Round.
That's all for barbell squats. That's all you need to do is break parallel. Just get your hips below the knees.
Exactly.
Exactly. That's been my experience. Because if let's say, for example, anyone listening, this podcast has gone very long, but you know what? If I don't have a strict deadline, if it's good shit, I keep it going. So if Malcolm, let's say you're 183, let's just say 180. If you can do a pistol squat on both legs without weight, that essentially means that you have the strength with both legs to squat your body weight plus your body weight on your back, because one leg can squat your body weight. Then any additional weight you can hold, that times 2, because you're doing it on both legs, you add that onto your body weight. So 60 pounds times 2, because both legs, that's 120. 180 plus 120 is 300, and you're hitting 300 pound squats. And so the thing is that that like is pretty much bang on. The only thing is, like, if you're not used to squatting, then it's going to take a few weeks to get proficient at it before those numbers hold true. So
like, I was already pretty proficient at doing squats, so I can transfer over that strength pretty easily. Like, so if someone learned how to pistol squat but never really learned how to do barbell squats, then you have a bigger learning curve, and it doesn't necessarily directly transfer over every, you know, morsel of strength from pistols to barbell squats, but it's pretty damn close. Like, if I can lower the weight maybe 25 pounds and just like do them probably with ease, probably full ROM with ease.
Right.
And if I actually worked on that, if I actually just focused on doing barbell squats, I'm pretty sure like my numbers could go up, boom, like that. But I don't necessarily want to take that approach.
Yeah. No, that's sweet. Yeah. I don't know. I think we've covered a lot more than I was planning on. So this has been a super sweet podcast. You know, we were talking about Malcolm's fat loss journey, and, you know, his experiences with, like, the Kinobody courses getting really, really lean. Well, I've actually, like, essentially done my latest course yet. It's Aggressive Fat Loss 2.0. I've added a ton to it, an in-depth workout program, some really cool exercises to make that behavioral change, being able to, like, enjoy that journey, and, you know, and follow through. And I've made it, like, entirely, like, fantastic. So if you guys want to get on the waiting list, it'll be out soon. It's kinobody.com/AFL, Aggressive Fat Loss, AFL2, 2.0. kinobody.com/AFL2. It's going to be quite cool, and I just want to thank you again, Malcolm, for coming on and sharing all this your experiences and your tips with everyone listening. I don't know. I feel like I should be doing this more often. Yeah,
man, you're helping. I see some of the other testimonials, and, you know, people have been getting pretty good results. You need to get some more people on here to talk about what they're doing, because that's going to help more people. And I mean, it's one thing to relate to you and what you're doing, but someone who actually has been through the entire transformation is just much easier to relate to them. So that'll help you out a lot, you know.
Very, very cool. Okay, and I guess and you're on Instagram or Facebook if anyone wants to, like.
I'm on Facebook, Malcolm Blair on Facebook.
Cool, man. All right, cool.
I'm on Instagram, so.
Yeah, I didn't hire Malcolm, just for the record. I didn't give him a script and hire him.
Guys, I have a confession. He did hire me. I'm sorry. I can't lie to you guys. Just kidding.
All right. Anyways, well, we're gonna sign off here. Thank you everyone for listening. And if you've had an awesome transformation and you want to come on to a podcast, well, you can email me. Go to my site. My email is somewhere there, or leave a comment, and yeah, we can do one of these. I mean. Yeah, I might do some of these more often. Cool. All right. Thanks for listening, and take care. Bye-bye.
All right, man. Peace.